Day to you whenever you're watching, wherever you're watching from. It is April 12th, 2023. The Starship 24 is on the transport stand, possibly getting some work done and may get relifted, but we'll have to see what happens. We can see the mic check. We can see the chopsticks are below the forward flaps, so the standing on its own on the transport stand. There we go. Be back in a minute. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. I was looking for something in the truck. Good morning, John, Tate, Julian, Johnny, 3 on 3. Good stuff. If you'd like to hear more of the ambient sound, let me know and I can unplug the mic. Yeah, we have almost no wind here this morning. The number of mosquitoes are less than they have been yesterday and the day before. Hey, passing wind, good to see you. Bob Stonecutter. Oh, that's almost like a stonemason. Good to see you. Yeah, there's some wind in the chats. I got you. Yeah, real nice. This morning I came across a YouTube video that showed how easy it is to create a children's book. So Chris, using a couple artificial intelligences. So I might start writing a couple Space Ocean Corp Enceladus children's books, maybe to each of the different ocean moons in a solar system. The cool thing about it is one of these programs can, what is it called? Can animate. It can, Robert MP, good stuff. Check Robert MP in the house. There are different, like DALL-E, and there are some other image creation devices. Yeah, early this morning, that's correct. Sir Chris, around midnight, just after midnight, they were, or maybe before, they were taking the Starship off of the top of the booster. I've heard that maybe they wanted to do the flight termination system, or maybe they're doing something else. I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, maybe just for the FTS. That's short for the explosion, which if it goes off course, I can blow it up. Dynamite. Hey, Bob Brazil. But if you have anything inspiring that you want to inspire people about, maybe you have a story that you've been trying to tell for a long time, there are tools out there where you can have ChatGPT, OpenAI write you a story based on the inputs that you put into the thing. Then you can get you can use a image creator based on the storyline. You can go to each chapter of the book that was written by ChatGPT, and you can have it create stories for every chapter or for every event. And then you can take another program to overlay the some of the descriptive stuff for each one of the pictures, and then you can put it into a Amazon Kindle, KDP on Amazon, and then you get a nice book. So I might write one or more books today for kids on the space ocean stuff. We'll see. Awesome. Passing one says, used ChatGPT last week for first time with my wife. I asked one question and I broke it. You know, sometimes the ChatGPT, you have to ask it more than one question, more than one time, because there's so many people using it now that you have to try again. So, but once you get in, you'll be able to do amazing stuff. Whatever you're doing right now that's amazing, you'll be able to do it 5 times more productive, amazingly. Maybe. If anyone has any other ideas or thoughts or comments, a different way to redirect the conversation here, let us know. Let me know. Several people have said maybe the 17th they're going to launch 17, 18, 19, 20. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. Thursday would be the 20th, 420. And then Friday, what they often do is at 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Friday they do a 9 a.m. to whatever it is. No, 8 a.m. So Friday they might do like something shorter, or possibly earlier in the morning, or carry it over from the Thursday night. So Friday we could see maybe it finish by 4 p.m. possibly, if they do what they do some other weeks. But 4:20, Sister Chris. Okay, next Thursday. Interesting. Yeah. I think that's rushing it a little bit. We haven't seen any cryo tests or anything else. I know Elon said they're ready to go, but um, that's a lot of crunch time for bringing in methane and making sure it's stacked and everything else. '21st is the Sir Chris's birthday. A day or 2 days ago, I think it was someone here named Helen Ewan. It was birthday a couple days ago. Short aristocrat, nice to see you. Good stuff. Keep the chat focused here. Gotta stay on focus here. Yeah, Johnny says we'll have to see how it goes. Okay, yeah, Piper Soul says last night there was a weird sound that was happening while the chopsticks were lowering. I'm not sure I heard that sound. I was here, but not in the very beginning. I wasn't here in the very beginning. But there is also a possibility that I was here, but didn't really notice it. Scraping, or maybe it was an air tool. Okay. Yeah, I believe we're right next to the ocean here, so everything gets rusty. So I've heard as they're beginning to lift the Starship, like metal on metal. So it is maybe just rust. Yeah, rusty bearings. Yeah. Paul Shields, yeah, good morning. Nice to see you. Let me do a zoom, because I can do more zoom than this. Let me get zoomed on the bottom there. Sorry about that. You have to grease them? Yep, I got you. Just like, I guess, just like an excavator or anything else, you got a skid steer, you got to put in a bunch of grease. Yep. Yeah, I think I can get a better shot than this too. Yeah, go to the bottom there. Okay. It's a little bit better. Yeah, Robert says he doesn't believe until SpaceX gives a date for launch, everything else is only talking. Yeah. Sir Chris says it's the salt in the air that gets at the bearings. Okay. You know, talking about bearings, it's been said by David Adair, who was a rocket scientist. I don't know if he's still around, but very accomplished engineer, etc. I believe we could consider him an engineer. That bearings, if they're made in space, a bearing, if you smelt the metal and you make it in space, since there's no gravity in space, or as far as we understand gravity. Um, or maybe since you're not on the planet focusing the gravity or whatever, that the bearings don't need any oil when they're made in space because they're so smooth. You can imagine that if you have perfect diffusion of the different, just like if you were to take some vinegar and oil into space and shake it up, you would have a perfect separation of the vinegar and the oil. Maybe the most likely, I assume. I'm making stuff up here, but that's what I'm trying to explain it as. So if you were to bring some metal into space and melt it down into its molten form and then allow it to cool slowly in space, the bearings would be perfectly smooth such that you don't need any oil. Yeah, they don't currently make in the public sector those types of bearings in space because it would disrupt the industry on the Earth. The oil industry would get affected. So. It's also, they did apparently learn how to do it in the in the Skylab days. Skylab was one of the first space stations in the public sector. Starbase today, nice, thank you. Nice to see you, good morning. Thanks for the support. The Skylab, they tested on how to smelt metal in space back then, and they did do it using sound to maneuver the molten metal. Yeah, good morning. That's a very nice donation. I may post later today or after the stream a link to the, there was a YouTube video I watched this morning on how to use like 3 different artificial intelligence tools to write a book for you based on whatever topic you want it to be written about with whatever details you want it to write it. So that's what kind of was one of the motivations for me this morning. Something I'm excited about doing. I mean, I've already written a book a while back in 2017 and another one in 2019, so I know how to write a book, but to add to it the capabilities of ChatGPT and the image illustrators, the video, if you watch it, might give you some ideas. I'll post it in the chat, I mean in the community section here after this video. Robert MP says, the best way to write a book is with a pencil. Yeah, that's a good way to write a book. I mean, but if you're looking at, you know, in the video, they do explain it well in the video too. They say, you know, you can pay a graphic artist and an illustrator hundreds of dollars for 4 images, or you can use a free artificial intelligence to make the photos for you for free, and as many as you would like within about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. So 15, 20 minutes, you could have about 70 illustrations for your children's book, or a technical book, your journal, whatever it is that you want to have in your book, you can have them all within about 15-20 minutes. Well, yeah, Piper's All says, good question. If ChatGPT writes your book, how is it your book? It's like having a ghost writer write your audiobooks. Yeah, that's true. It is kind of like a ghost writer, but you know, you can, everybody can make a hamburger. It's just about, can you sell the hamburger? So if you are the first one to write the, okay, it's kind of like taking video here with SpaceX, you know. If you are the first photographer on site, if you are the first photographer, you will get the views. You will get the views, and if you're writing a book, what you want to do is sell the book. So if you were the first one to write a novel, interesting book about something, it doesn't matter who wrote it. And it's even better if you like what you're writing about or compiling the book about. Hey, Tony, good morning. But as when you're writing a book, sometimes when you're writing a book, it's about sales, selling, being able to sell the book. So if you have the, it's kind of like almost like running a business. If you have the concept of the business, you know how to organize the business and everything else. There is a story about a gentleman, I think in India, who was, he wanted to learn how to do a little code. So what he did is he learned to code on the internet, and then he wrote some extensions for Google Chrome, and he makes about $20 million a year because people download the Chrome extensions that he created just by writing a little code. So similarly, if you can, there's another lady who started a fashion eyelash company using magnetic eyelashes, and you know, she really perfected on how to keep the eyelashes on the eyelash, the fake ones, and she makes about $100 million a year. So it's not so much your skill, but the being able to organize it and bring it to fruition. You know, you don't have to do everything yourself. Tony and Johnny. So, I mean, the lady who does the eyelashes is in her 20s, so, but she makes $100 million a year. So. O'Neill says on the SpaceX website, they say the launch is on the 17th. Did they get FAA approval? O'Neill, I would ask, did they have a year after the 17th? Did it say that 2023, 17th of 2023, or was it just left, or did they also put the caveat of assuming we get regulatory approval? Regulatory approval is the caveat. Robert says a good publisher is the secret of good selling these days. Yeah, I don't know about that. You know, there are people that when they see something good, they just buy it. It doesn't matter who the publisher is. One of the best publishers might be Amazon.com, and that is a free service that you can easily just upload your PDF to upload it to KDP. Amazon.amazon.com. KDP.amazon.com. One of the things that apparently people do is they go to school and they get these big degrees and everything else, or they become a pilot, or they become a doctor and everything else. And then they learn that they can take, you know, the effort they put into, well, anyway, they find out that being a business owner, they can make more money as a business owner. So, but as a business owner, one of the things you also learn is that sometimes you have to fail a lot of times to win, or just like playing some other things. When if you I'm not going to go into it, but let's see. You have to be willing to fail or to make mistakes. Just like SpaceX here, he says, you know, to get into orbit, you got to crack a few eggs or whatever it is that Elon says. You know, when you want to do something, you just keep working at it. But as a doctor, you know there's different types of restrictions. You got to get a lot of insurance. And then you know your time is taken up, and so sometimes what happens with these doctors and other people is they get to the top of their game or whatever, and you know they start running out of time, and then there are different restrictions that they have, and then they find out they can do something in the business sector as either as part of a team or on their own as a business owner, and they can they maybe make more money or make a little bit less money but have a lot more time. So that is a possibility. Some people also, when they're a doctor or whatever, they just really love it and they just do it 100% as much as they can, and that works for them, and they love what they do. So my dad was a lot like that. I think he just loved what he did. He loved talking to people, and it worked for him. So. Evolution of stuff. There's your answer. It's so good it looks automatic and pre-recorded. Thank you. Yeah, Piper's all. Those are the SpaceX stakes on the ground there. That marks the boundary of the Dogleg Park LLC. It was interesting, since this is so everything inside of these stakes here on the left side there, it's Dogleg Park LLC. I don't know if that means in the future they're going to open it up to they're going to make it a doggy area where the different dogs and dog owners can walk their dogs between launches or something. But it is called Dogleg Park LLC here. This to the left of those stakes. That's the no trespassing zone. Interesting segue. Elon Musk did tweet that the new owner of, I believe it was Twitter or something. The new CEO is Floki, the dog. Floki the dog is, he's no longer a CEO, but Floki the dog, Floki, Floki, is the new CEO. It may be of Twitter. I'm not sure which company Floki is the CEO of, but check it out. Emar Alcantara. Emar, I got you. Thanks. You too. A couple days ago, the blue HVAC things were putting out a bunch of stuff. So I think during the lift of the Starship, these things backup generators or additional power generators. Hi, Larry. Not yet. No word on the info. Weather is sunny with a temperature 67 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. Wind from the north-northwest at 8 miles an hour, 13 kilometers, and the humidity is 85%. 85%, 8 miles an hour, 13 kilometers. Wind 67 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. It's almost the perfect temperature. I mean, we've got the sun behind us, behind the camera, and from the east. So we're looking almost southwest or west-southwest. That's probably west-southwest is what we're looking at. You can see just to the right on the bottom of the screen there is somebody checking out the site, taking some photos and stuff on the very bottom right corner. Kind of a space enthusiast, SpaceX enthusiast. I saw some type of video yesterday about talking about the Cybertruck and with Elon and some other people around the table. I'm not sure, I don't remember the name of it, but nice to see groups of people talking together with Elon. Yeah, O'Neill reminds us excitement is guaranteed. You're already excitement through the roof. That's good. I want to there is a what is it called? Michael J. Fox with the he has some type of a disease, and that's apparently related to adrenaline. Thanks, Robert. If you can, adrenaline is also has similar types of things as diabetes. So it's if you can find some type of balance, or just make sure it's, they say there's the thing about the gentleman who flew too close to the sun and his wings melted. You don't want your excitement to get too excited. Try and stay a little bit here on the earth. But I mentioned the Michael J. Fox thing because Icarus, there you go, Peppersville. I posted, I think in response on LinkedIn, there is a gentleman who wrote a book called Agnes Vonderplanets. Agnes Vonderplanets. He wrote a book called We Want to Live, and he is my favorite nutritionist and one of my favorite, well, not my favorite nutritionist, but There is one other person who's a few other people that I really like as well, but Agenus is definitely one of my top 4. And he says that using some different things that he writes about in his book, that many different diseases and conditions can be healed rather quickly. And if you were to, I like his book called We Want to Live. Yep, it's a good book that I like. It could be very harmful to your health, so you got to check with your doctor before you do any changes to anything or do anything. But that's my favorite book, We Want to Live, because I like it. But he does talk about the disease that's affecting Michael J. Fox, and he does propose a solution in the book We Want to Live. And there are over probably about there's over 50 different diseases that he talks about in the appendix of that book, maybe even closer to 100, with simple solutions that one does not need to suffer their whole life. Just like if you were in the dark and say you grew up on an island and you never were introduced to electricity, and over the course of the winter on this island, it got really cold, and all of your life on this island, you grew up and you suffered every winter through the cold. And there was on this island, there was also a large box, and in this box, it had a few things on the box, but you were scared or afraid of the box, so you never actually went up and looked at the box. But on this box, there's about a 10-foot by 5-foot box, 10 by 5 by 15-foot box, 10 by 5 by 15. And there was a lot of dirt around the box and everything else, but so you stayed away from it because maybe you were scared of the box. But every winter it got very cold, and you suffered through the cold, and over time something happened and another thing happened. But it turned out that this box was a large generator with different heaters inside and everything else, and all that needed to be done was to knock on the door 3 times and turn the key to the left, turn the lock to the left for 5 seconds, and then turn it to the right for 16 seconds, and then the door would open and you would have access to the heaters and to the nice cot, nice bed with a refrigerator full of food. And that's what your predecessors had left to you. But when you were a child, they left the island, and they never had time to tell you about the room full of heaters and food and the nice comfortable air mattress bed. So that's what the Agenus Vonderplanet's book We Want to Live is kind of like. It has many things in the appendix, which if certain people who have those maladies of cold and suffering and everything else were to find and read certain paragraphs out of that book, and if they were to, I don't know, experiment a little bit with approval first from their doctor, they may find that they can say goodbye to their doctor, possibly. At least I did. And get up and run 30 miles. So, or maybe swim 30 miles. You know, not everybody has feet to swim or to run. Some people just they never get to the book. They never open the door, and then never have the opportunity to hear or to read a different version. You know, as a case in point, I worked in a hospital for about a year, if you put all the time together, and I trained in hospitals for about 2 years as a surgical technologist from 2013 to 2014 until 2000, maybe 18, I think is when I stopped working in hospitals. So, on and off for a number of years, and I was assisting as a surgical technologist in the all different things from spinal cord burring of the different spinal cord parts to removal of I mean everything you can consider, almost any part of the body, from plastic surgery to thoracic surgery to posterior spinal surgery to eye surgery, cataract removal and implants of ECCE lenses, to you know, sometimes people's toes are going to the side and stuff like that, and sometimes someone will the back of the I can go through all types of things, and pacemaker installation, and all kind of things. Anyway, so one time this person was getting, they were going to get their finger operated on and removed due to diabetes, and the doctor was preparing the before doing the localized block on the arm, because when you do a hand surgery or something, the patient doesn't have to go under general anesthesia. So we're in the operating room and setting everything up, and the patient was still awake, and before the anesthesiologist had done the block on the arm and everything, the doctor's like, you know, it looks like your finger is getting better. It looks like it's healing. Maybe we don't need to do an amputation. And the patients are like, no, let's take it off. So there are things that can happen if you're in a situation where you have something with your body and some type of surgery needs to be done to correct it or to help you out so life is better. But things can happen where they turn around, and this person just chose to go ahead and have the finger amputated and make life easier. So I mean, the doctor's there to make money too. It's just like anything else. So you can go to a doctor and have them do anything you want them to do, but doesn't mean you need it to be done. And they're happy to take your money and help you out and help you achieve whatever it is you want with your body. But it is a business as well. Pretty soon, if you go to Neuralink, you'll be able to have some electrodes implanted into your brain, or possibly on the exterior of your brain. Maybe, I think they were saying, it's been a long while since I looked at the Neuralink, but they were implanting something inside of the skull, you know, drilling a hole, implanting some electrodes, etc. And then maybe they were going to start closing up the hole with some plates, and then put something on the outside of the skull so that there aren't any connecting wires, possibly. I don't know if they've gotten to that point yet, but anytime they go inside the skull, they have to drill holes through the skull, and then they have access to implant stuff into the brain, which I don't think has any feeling. So apparently they can. I've been in on the cranial surgery as well, and they can operate on the brain without you being in general anesthesia, because there's not a lot of feeling in the brain. I don't think there's any. Maybe on the outside of the skull. So they would probably do some localized anesthesia on the surface of the skin on the scalp, but then they can drill through and work on the brain. So you can get work done on the body pretty soon by Neuralink, maybe, if they get approval and everything else. Hey, Ellen, nice to see you. Good. Zombies says, a good way to make zombies, says Sir Chris. ST Space Time, good. Nice to see that, nice. Tony says the launch will be emotional, yes. Vettex 06. Vettex from Chandler, Arizona, 06. Daedalus and Icarus, says Johnny, 3 on 3. Hey Owen, good to see you this morning. Some people have said that maybe the destacking is to activate or attach or do something with the flight termination system. So this could be on schedule, just part of the planning, so that they can activate or attach or whatever the explosive device, so that if it goes off course, then they can blow it up. Johnny says, Neuralink might give awesome access to the brain. Imagine 2 humans being connected by it, or downloading stuff from the brain, or even into the brain. That's very interesting. Johnny 3 on 3 says some interesting stuff there. I like what you said. What I can tell you is it's probably going to be a lot like taking some mushrooms or some other toad venom or something else like that. Something that can, it's Neuralink. Sounds like it's going to be like a like earth medicine, as it's talked about. It's going to be like taking ayahuasca, or taking Amanita muscaria, or taking toad venom, or possibly some psilocybe mushrooms. That's going to be what the Neuralink's going to be like. It's going to be, when you do a mushroom type of experience or something like that, it's going to happen. And once you've ingested the mushrooms, or once you've taken the toad venom, or maybe once you've taken the DMT or the LSD. I've never done LSD or DMT, but once you do have taken them, you are on the trip, and there's nothing that's going to give you any, you can't close the door and stop the adventure once it's happening. So once you have the electrodes implanted into your brain, and once you're connected with the other individual, you are going to be in the experience. And if there's any type of virus or electronic thing that happens, you are going to be in the experience. So one of the things about the mushroom experience, and some of the there's a bunch of other ones, so I gotta remember the names of them. See, I haven't really done a lot of these different things, and nothing in the last 20-something years. So, one of the things that happens, sometimes people have a good experience, and sometimes people have a bad experience. And most of the time, when you do these types of things, people have a transcendent experience. They have something that they didn't expect, something that changes their worldview. And but sometimes the bad stuff that happens is existential, and it does affect the rest of your life. So one of the ways of it can be thought of is that once you have this stuff in your head, maybe they can come and zap it and neutralize the electronics inside your brain. But one of the if you have a drop of water that's dropping a little bit every moment onto your skin, and maybe for the first half hour or 2 hours it's fun, but after a day or a couple days, that drop of water every second dropping onto the same area of your body, it can get annoying, and then it can get become dangerous, and maybe eventually it might cause some type of injury. So exposure to something over a long period of time, repetitious exposure without your control, can lead to quite an adventure. And if you had no control over it, and if it were inside your head, it might lead to rapid evolution of awareness, because the awareness would get so unsatisfied and so dissatisfied, so upset with its experience inside the body. They say that the soul or the personality evolves most when it's being what is it called? I mean, it could likely be said it evolves most when it's being treated nicely with love, but it also learns quickest, and maybe not quickest, but just as quick when it's being tortured. So if the Neuralink were to go in the wrong direction, and if it were, instead of becoming a heaven, were to become a hell, the consciousness or the personality inside the body might want to escape the body ASAP, as soon as possible, and which would lead to a rapid, instead of a rapid unexpected explosion, or whatever that's called, it would lead to a rapid out-of-body experience, a rapid where you leave quickly, rapid exit of the body, a conscious rapid exit of the body, which would be amazingly awesome. But when you get back into your body, you would still be in the hellish situation, and we might see a large exodus of people from the Neuralink back to the natural way of living, with just the brain cells that were originally in the brain still remaining in the brain. So. If you want to connect with somebody, maybe just get some marijuana or something, and get some good drugs and do them together with your partner. Maybe that's the answer. But if you're going to use some type of technology to implant into your brain, I'm not sure that's the best avenue. Maybe if you can put something on exterior, without putting it inside the brain, maybe that's a better solution. Once they're able to map and influence with magnetic and gravitational fields the signals that get into the brain. If they can do it exterior, an exterior Neuralink without implanting anything in the brain, that's probably the better, safer solution. Or maybe there's something you can swallow or drink, which will have just like a mushroom or something, will have a several hour type of Neuralink experience due to the things that you drank moving through your body and influencing your brain, maybe somehow passing the blood-brain barrier, making that jump for just a few hours, and then you would be connected by Neuralink. That would be something interesting. It's said that some of the people who do alter their body with certain things, this is stepping into the not so known areas, stepping into the sketchy area. So it's said that many of the different famous people, including presidents, including just well-known people or rich people or whatever, have clones, and that they not only did we clone the sheep many years ago. I think it was Dolly. I think the name of the sheep was Dolly as well, or something like that. A while back, they cloned some sheep, and it's been many years since we were talking about cloning here in the United States, at least in the national news. But it said that many of the different many famous people, including many presidents, even people like Bill Gates and some other people, have cloned, possibly Elon Musk as well, and that sometimes these clones only have a short lifetime. Humanoid type drones, clones, and they have some type of medical issues as well, including, I don't want to go into too many people, but there are many people that are known to be questionable as far as whether they have a clone or not. An easier way to do it is just to have a face mask. Someone with one of those CIA almost skin-like face masks. And then in that case, with enough preparation, almost anybody can be made to look like anyone else, especially if you have some nice computer graphics as well. But these clones have issues, that certain medical issues sometimes. Maybe they've perfected it by now. I don't know. But if you think everybody you see on TV is who you think it is, and if you think, then that's pretty interesting. You're a very trusting and kind person, is what I would say. But we live in the age where, in the 1980s, we had these Star Wars movies, and we had the dark, we had the Jedi, and we had I forgot what the other people were called, but we had the happy people and we had the unhappy people back then in the time of Star Wars. And today we still have the happy people and we have the unhappy people. The happy people tend to be the people who help each other, like myself and you, probably. And the unhappy people tend to be the dark people who want to take over not only the planet but the galaxy. Star Trek in the 60s. Star Wars. Okay, there we go. Star Wars. Yeah, they had Star Wars. Star Trek in the 60s. There we go. Thanks for the correction, Sir Chris. Today is a new day. I wish you the best. Whenever you watch this, whenever you're watching from, wherever you're watching from, we will meet again. We are all connected. This is just my final words to myself. And today's a new day. Just starting the day here. It is, see what time it is. It is 8:51 in the morning. Have a good day. Johnny says there's a new Star Trek series very similar to the original one, Strange New Worlds. Kind of reminds me of the Fringe or the Doctor Strange. Those are some other good ones too. All right. If you have some good experiences or anything else later on you want to tell us about, put a message in the chat, and I'll see you on the next one.